Welcome back to The Inspired Entrepreneur with Heather Hope. Hey everyone, it's Heather Hope. Welcome back to the Inspired Entrepreneur podcast. So, as you know, I am still in Mexico. Today is October 3rd, and I want to welcome you to October. In the comment section down below, let me know where you live. I live in Arizona, so I'm hoping by the time I get back that it cools down more, because October is really our month that we start getting cooled down. But let me know where you live. Okay, so my name is Heather Hope, and I am a law of attraction business coach, mentor, teacher, inspirational writer, and speaker. I run a monthly business coaching membership for entrepreneurs who are into the law of attraction, based primarily on Abraham Hicks and Sanaya Roman, and maybe some other channeled sources, but basically source, infinite intelligence. So I do that. I do some private coaching, very, very high end level. I can't even talk now. Coaching, but my primary stuff is my coaching membership, because I really love doing that. I love creating a space for entrepreneur, business owners, all kinds of people who are self-employed, to have a place that they can talk about this stuff. Because when I was in other business groups, business and sales and marketing, that sort of thing, it's just so opposite. It's so different. If you take any actual traditional online business courses, you would benefit with my group, because I will actually tell you what not to believe based off of those programs, because the mindset is so different with law of attraction than what most people are teaching in business. So good stuff. Okay, so let's jump into today, October 3rd. This one is a little wordy, so bear with me. I think my dog is in here somewhere. He must be. I can't see him. Okay, so write the story of the life you want. Write your new story. Talk about it, dream about it. The more you do, the more you will create the pathways of it happening. It really is that easy. P.S. You have to stop talking about what you don't want. When you talk about what you don't want and what you do want, you'll have a mixed vibration, and that won't allow you to move forward. That is super big. That's super big. It's a mixed vibration. Just focusing on both. You can't focus on both. You'll be frustrated as hell if you do, which most people are. So write the new story. Talk about it, dream about it. The more you do, now this is what's really exciting. The more that you do, the more you will create the pathways, the thought pathways. This stuff is so fascinating. Thought pathways. So, because thoughts are these things, but you're creating this pathway. You're pre-paving your future. You're doing all of that work. The more that you focus on the story that you want. So if you focus more on that story and so much less on the story that you don't want anymore, the faster you'll get to where you want to be. Okay, that's it. I'm just kidding. That was like a 2-minute podcast episode. 3 minutes. Okay, so we really jumped into it today. Maybe we'll have a short one today to give you guys a little bit of a break. Let's see, October 3rd. What day is that? October 1st is Thursday. So it's Saturday. Happy Saturday for you guys. Okay, so write the story. What does that mean? Okay, so a lot of times what I do in the morning, so my morning routine is typically the same most mornings. I get up, I go to the kitchen, get a drink, and I take my morning supplements. I grab my notebooks, and I go into my meditation room. And I sit there I'll probably be in there for at least an hour to 2 hours to 3 hours some days, where I'm listening to Abraham, videos. I'll check my email and stuff like that. And I will do some journaling. And some of those days I write like the perfect day in my life, the life that I'm creating, and I will get into details. I'll lay back in my recliner and I will visualize that same day. Like I'll visualize it. This is how I manifested my ocean view home in California. I only did it for 7 days and I I walked right into the house. That is such an amazing story. I really do need to get that in a podcast episode on its own. How I manifested my amazing husband, how I manifested the ocean view home in California, how I manifested the house that I currently live in, how I manifested the car out in my driveway. I think I talked about that briefly, but I wanted to make separate episodes for those particular manifestations because they're a lot of fun when you go back and look through like all the things that I did or didn't do or whatever to manifest that, and it's very precise. Like it's just amazing. And that's how I learned more and more how to manifest, is through manifesting the things that I wanted. And it's just so cool. So I can give you an example right now with the ocean view home. What I did was, I do have it actually. Do I have? Yeah, I think I do. It's pinned at the top of my Facebook page, Heather Hope Law of Attraction Business Coach. That page, it's pinned. It's a live from I think February, of how I manifested the house. It's like the 3 things to do every day. I think it's meditate, write, and visualize. And I did that. And what I did was every morning, when I woke up, I went to my meditation room just like I do. And I visualized. First, I visualized waking up to the sounds of the ocean. I have this in a separate journal. It's somewhere. I don't have it with me. But waking up to the ocean waves. And I visualized, because I looked at a lot of houses in California, on the coast. And so I visualized my bedroom. I visualized just moving my head up, lifting my head to look out the window to see the ocean. That's what I wanted. And I also would play ocean waves on YouTube. I'd pull up a YouTube video of ocean waves. I listened to that at night. There's a couple nights that week that I listened to it. So I woke up. So I would wake up with ocean waves. I'll tell you a really cool thing in a minute with that. So I started visualizing waking up to ocean waves, the sound of them, picking my head up, right, and looking out my window for the ocean. And then going through my whole day, I would visualize my perfect day waking up with the ocean. Now, I was here in Arizona. It was in January of 2020. And after I would visualize it, I would write it. I would just write basically what I just visualized. So I would spend more time visualizing it through writing it. And I did that for a few days. Now, I was on the Abraham Hicks tour, what I was calling it. My idea was to go to all the Abraham Hicks workshops. That was the idea. I started it in December by going to the Phoenix one. I went to the 3 in January in California. So it was San Diego, LA, and Long Beach. So I went to those 3. And then there was like a 2-week break until September, until February 1st, which was San Francisco. And so San Francisco, from where I live an hour outside of Phoenix. And to drive from where I live to San Francisco sounded like a nightmare because I love driving, and I love driving to LA. Not a problem. It was super easy, fun, all that good stuff. I loved it. All my trips to California were amazing prior to that. So I was just having a really good time. And so here I am sitting on my couch. I remember this. Sitting on my couch. It was like that weekend prior to San Francisco. And I was sitting there and I'm like, I have zero plans. I have zero plans. I do want to go to San Francisco. I do want to go to the workshop because I've been having the time of my life. The journey was better than the destination. Of course, the destination was amazing. The workshop was always good, but the journey to the destination was so much better. It was just so good. It was so much fun for like a 3-hour workshop, right? Because I would be there the whole weekend. I would drive, it was the whole thing. So the week before, that weekend before, I had no plans. I had no idea what I was going to do because I kept checking flights for like a couple of weeks, and there's more details, right? When you're flying somewhere, then you got to get a rental car and you got to figure out, what hotel, you got to figure out all these things. And I'm not like that person who loves dealing with all the details. Sometimes I do, it depends. But when I've just spent the last 4 workshops driving and it was just super easy, I was like, I don't know if I really wanted to fly. And then as time progressed, right, before the trip, the flight, doubled in price. And then I'm like, now I don't feel like flying. And I still didn't know what to do. So what I started doing was doing this visualizing and writing just in general, not even have anything to do with the workshop. I just knew, I remember sitting there, I just knew I just needed to chill about the problem, right? The problem solving, because I wasn't getting anywhere not knowing what I was doing. And I wasn't getting the answers. So I told myself, just chill. You'll figure, it'll come to you. That's how I live everything out now. Just chill, the answer will come. And it does. And that's why I do it, because I trust that when I chill out, the answer comes pretty quickly. Okay, so I start doing this visualizing and the writing. And so the first thought that came to me of that trip was, well, get your ticket. Just get your Abraham ticket, because you're going to go. You don't know how you're going to get there, but just get the ticket. So I got the ticket. That was the first step, right? And that was all I did. And that was probably right after that is when I was like, I don't really know how I'm getting there. I don't know any of this. So I started doing the writing, right? The visualizing and writing. And then like a day or two later, I started thinking about the trip. And I started thinking, because we had planned on moving to Pismo Beach, which is the middle in between LA and San Francisco. It's on the Central Coast. It's smack dab in the middle between LA and San Francisco. If you want a really great place to live, check the Central Coast of California. I'm not saying California is a great place to live. I love California. There's things I don't love about it, but I love the coast. It's my favorite place so far. I'm sure I'm going to find many more. So that was the plan. We were going to move there any minute. Like I kept saying it. We're going to move. We're moving. I've been saying it for a couple of months. We're moving to Pismo Beach soon. And I kept saying in a couple of weeks we're moving. No plans at all, guys. None. We had no plans. The house wasn't, we weren't finding the house, but we weren't stressed about it. It was like, well, it's going to come. So it was like Sunday night or something. I think it was Sunday night before the trip, before San Francisco. And I started thinking about Pismo. I started thinking about, well, going to LA is fine. It's fun. And then I thought, well, what if you just stay a night in LA again? LA is awesome. And then I was like, well, how far is it to Pismo? And I'm like, well, it's an extra couple hours. Okay. And then I thought, oh, well, what if I just stay in Pismo for a night? Break up this trip into 2 days of driving. And so just the thoughts kept coming to me, and they started feeling really good. And so then I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I can just drive to Pismo, stay the night and be there, because it's really cool to be there. And then the next day go to San Francisco. And that's an easy trip. And so I was excited. So the thoughts came to me. Okay, so like, cool. So I talked to my husband about it, because I'm like, are you going to feel bad if I go to Pismo Beach without you? And he's like, no, he's so awesome. He's the most incredible guy ever. He's just like, no, he's used to me being like impulsive, which is awesome, because I never used to be an impulsive person, but he knows now, like from the past, before this, that anytime I get an impulsive thought to go to California, something good always comes from it. Like there's a manifestation somewhere because it keeps happening. Every time I get this instant thought of this excitement to go to California for something, it's like this magic happens. So he knows, like, oh, go. You can go. It's fine. Because, having both of us and the dog, and it's just too much, right? It's like, I just want to go. And so I was excited. I'm like, awesome. So I find a hotel on the beach, ocean view. And so I made the plan. And so like that Thursday, was it Thursday? Did I go Wednesday? I don't remember what day I went because a couple days to drive. So I go, and between my favorite drive is between basically Ventura, whatever you want to say it, Ventura and Pismo. Like, it's my favorite drive. And you get to drive through Santa Barbara, gorgeous. Go through the Central Coast, beautiful. And then you get to Pismo. So during that time, drive along the coast. During that drive, I was so pumped. I was so happy because it's so beautiful. I love California so much. The scenery just lights me up. It's like, it's my place to live. And now that I'm saying this, I'm probably going to manifest something, I swear. And so I was just pumped. I was just appreciating everything around me. And so granted, I'm still doing this thing in the morning, the visualizing and the writing every morning that week. And so that day while I'm driving, almost to Pismo, I'm just so excited. I'm appreciating everything around me, and I'm like hyped up, slightly manic feeling, right? And so then this U-Haul comes driving along next to me and goes in front of me, and the U-Haul has an Arizona license plate. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's cool. We're all about license plates, right? Numbers and all of that. And I don't remember what the numbers were, but I think it was triple digits. That I think about it. I think it was. But so I'm like, awesome. So for about 90 miles, me and this U-Haul are just like keep passing each other the whole way, and I'm still appreciating everything about California. And so he just keeps going, and he's going, and he's going, and I'm just like, I look at the license plate, and it says AG. Well, the town right next to Pismo is Arroyo Grande, AG. And so I call up my husband, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I swear to God, if this guy pulls into Pismo, it's a sign. We're moving here, because it's a U-Haul. If a U-Haul goes out in front of me and drives 90 miles, right, because everything's a sign, right, and pulls into Pismo Beach, very random kind of, then it's a sign we're moving here. We're moving here, and I'm so excited. I'm just like loving this. So I keep driving, and I'm almost there. And so I get to Arroyo Grande. Right? There's several exits. And all of a sudden, the U-Haul just takes the last Arroyo Grande exit right before Pismo Beach. And I'm like, oh my God, he's going to Arroyo Grande. AG, the license plate. The very next exit I take, Pismo Beach. And I'm like, oh my God, that was so much fun. So I pull into Pismo Beach, drive through downtown, and I start crying because I freaking love Pismo Beach. And I'm like, oh God, this is like my home. I feel at home here. And so really cool. So I go to my hotel, and I check in and all that good stuff. So the next morning I wake up and I realize that I see the ocean. Bed's right next to the window. The window's looking out at the ocean. And I realize that I wake up to what I have been writing about. Waking up to the ocean, I can hear it. Waking up to the waves. I don't even really have to move my head much to see the waves. I'm like, oh, that was really cool. I didn't even realize it. You know what I mean? Like, we do things all the time that we don't realize that is a manifestation until we realize it. And we're like, holy shit, we did that. And so I did it again. That morning. I'm sitting there on my bed looking out at the ocean. I have the pictures I posted on Facebook. So I did another day of visualizing, because it's right there in front of me now. Granted, I just did this, for the past 6 days, where, 6 days prior, I'm sitting on my couch, have no idea how I'm getting to San Francisco, no plans whatsoever to be in Pismo, no plans for any of this. But trusting and doing my work, right? My visualizing and writing and feeling, picturing, all this stuff, right? I end up in Pismo 7 days later. Never crossed my mind to do that. So I'm in Pismo and so I'm sitting on my bed in the hotel and I'm looking at the ocean, I'm looking at the beach, and I'm like, oh, this is really cool. This is a really cool manifestation since I've been writing about it for the past 7 days. So I do it one more time that morning. And there was no time like I was going to do this for 7 days. This just happened in 7 days. So that morning I do it again. And so then I get this impulse. I'm like, I got to go to the donut shop because I was checking out pretty soon to continue my trip to San Francisco. So it was a very short trip, under 24 hours to be in Pismo. So that morning I was like going to go to the donut shop. That's really good down the street. And so let me stop here and tell you what I did the night before. So I'm sitting in the hotel on my computer doing whatever. And so I get this thought. I'm like, oh, you know what? Since I'm in Pismo Beach, this thought came to me of, I wonder if all the people I've been talking to about rentals, because I've been texting a few people from Craigslist, I wonder if any of them still have a place available since I'm here, and just thinking, since I'm here, I can actually look at a place, even though I have like no time, but whatever, I'll figure it out. And so I'm sitting in bed and I pull up my phone and I just look through my text messages and I text 3 people that I had been talking to over the past couple of months to see if they still had a place available. So I got back 2 responses that night saying, no, sorry, rented it. Okay, cool. And whatever, I just let it go. I was like, it was no big deal, no attachment to it, nothing. It was just an idea and I did it and whatever, I don't care. And so the next morning when I go to the donut shop, I'm sitting there and I start writing some more. And all of a sudden I get this text message. I'm like, well, I got the message. Did I get it yet? Yeah, I did. I was sitting there eating my donut, enjoying it, thinking about going to the outlet store next door because there's an outlet mall. I wanted to check out that really quick. And I got a text message from this guy who had some kind of 2-bedroom place near the ocean. And he's like, the one we were talking about is not available, but I have another one and I'm like, oh, okay. And then he's like, well, when can you see it? I said, well, I'm checking out in like an hour and I gotta be on the road, so I can do it right now. And he's like, okay, cool, right now. So I jump in the car and I go look at the apartment. It's just a house and it's the top story of the house. It's the 3rd house from the ocean. And I walk up the stairs and I go through the house. Ocean view from every window. Every single window, except for the bathroom, faces the other way. Every single solitary window looks at the ocean. One looks at the pier, the rest looks at the ocean, everywhere. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. And we walk into the bedroom, and I kid you not, the bedroom's facing this ocean, and I look at the window and I'm like, this is it. And I look at the wife and I'm like, I've been writing about this for 7 days, just this past week. I've been writing about this view where I just have to open my eyes and you can hear the ocean. It's really loud. It's really loud. Good God. That's one thing I never knew. I loved it, but it was freaking loud at night. It's super interesting to me that it's so loud. Nobody ever talks about that. And that's 3 houses in. If you're oceanfront, I'm curious. But anyway, and so I'm just like, of course. And so I had to go because I had to be on the road because I don't drive at night. I just don't like driving at night anymore. So I leave. And I'm sending pictures to my husband and I'm like, wow. The price range is perfect. everything about it was perfect. It was easy. There was a whole lot of approval. I can get it as much, whatever time, just super easy. No lease, just whatever. And so I carry on to my trip to see Abraham. And we got the place. We ended up moving in February, like 2 weeks later. 2 weeks later. I canceled the rest of my trips because we were moving to California. I canceled canceled the hotels ready for San Rafael and Sacramento because we were moving. We moved February 13th, which was awesome because 13th is like our anniversary date. And then it's February 14th, and it was perfect. And so we moved literally 2 weeks later to the house from Arizona to Pismo Beach. And it was so amazing the next morning after February 14th, waking up to the ocean, guys, with my pillows. I never had to lift my head to see the ocean. All I have to do is open my eyes and there's the ocean. And it was better. It was better than lifting my head. You know what I mean? Like, cuz my vision kept saying, I lift my head up to look at the ocean. That was just something I kept thinking about. I lift my head up to look at the ocean. I never had to lift my head up. I just opened my eyes and there was the ocean, and it was so cool. So anyway, that's how I manifested the ocean view home it was so easy. And I was in Arizona the whole time, and all I did was let it go. Like, let go of how am I going to get to San Francisco? I let it go, and then I just did that visualization and meditation and the writing it for a few days. Got the idea to go. It was very exciting. Got there, took just the thought to text everybody because I hadn't thought about it. I really didn't think about it at all because I was going to be there for such a short amount of time that I'm like, I'm not there to look. I'm just there to enjoy Pismo. And so I get the idea to text people, and there it is. It was so easy. And that's how Abraham tells us how easy it can be. I have story after story after story of how easy the most important things in my life, the most important, my husband, this house over here in Arizona, all these things, how easy they were. They were literally like one or two thoughts, and poof, there it was. It was just so cool. So yeah, I'm going to record this, and I just clicked on the thing and it said 2727. I love multiples like that. So anyway, I'm going to do a whole separate podcast episode about this because I'm sure there is more. And I love reading from my journal, the actual things that I wrote. And then like what I wrote that morning in the donut shop right before, like literally, if I had the thing with me in front of me right now, I would tell you. I think it's over on my shelf. Literally the things I was writing. I was like, I love living in Pismo Beach. It's so amazing to live here. I literally was writing that right before this guy texted me with the house. So the thing is, I spent a lot of time in California those 3 weeks prior because I was there half of the week. So like I was back in Arizona after my 3 weeks of being in California back and forth. And I was like, God, I live half the time in California. Like that month, I lived half the time in California. So I was getting so close because I was traveling there. So I highly recommend getting into whatever you're manifesting, getting as close as you can get to it and enjoy it. I was spending so much time in California that I was becoming this vibrational match to California. It was becoming my reality to be there and to love it and to explore and to just enjoy every second of it. And so then I did this work, ended up back there and got the house. It was such a cool thing that happened. And I couldn't have made it up. I couldn't have made this happen. It was just so flawless and so effortless. It was so allow your manifestations to be effortless. Like literally, you don't have to do any effort. Like this is just stuff that you get the idea, you do it. You do this and you do that. It's just like You just get into the vibration of it, and then you follow the smallest little impulses. That's a whole nother subject that I talk about impulses, because I have a whole thing about that. Like everything that I've manifested that has been important for me, and I use the word important instead of big because big has that, like, it's harder. But the important things like my husband, my house, my, all these things, right? Money, they're more important to me than, manifesting other things. Maybe important's not the greatest word either, but you know what I mean? Like the things that mean the most to me. Those literally were one thought, one text message, one thought, one email. It was literally nothing. And I swear, Abraham tells us, all the time that we're going to get these, impulses, and it's going to be exciting. And that does happen too. But actually, to have that manifestation actually come in, like for me, to actually become physical for me, has been literally a text message. And it's happened so many times. So many times. It's been a thought to text message someone about something about that, and poof, there it was. I was like, holy crap. It's so easy, but we make so much of it, and we make it so important, and we make it so big, and all these things were just like the timing was right. So, okay, let me let you go and have an amazing rest of your Saturday. I know I'm probably somewhere in Mexico, hopefully having a good time. And I will talk to you all tomorrow. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.